Namaste and welcome, beloved mighties. We're going all the way. Like, do not pass go. We're going all the way to Jesus. It's like, why not test out whether supreme happiness, because what's been playing in consciousness for a while wasn't working so well. That's what we finally have to admit. We were pretending like, oh, it's the best thing, but now we see, no, not so much. Not so much. Mm-mm. Maybe we can reconsider the decision to deny love. Take the rocket ship and just hang on tight, because this is a seat belts in. This has more energy behind it than Apollo 13. We're going right to the moon. And we see that our brother is the gift with the ride together. Straight up. And seeing where we're where that little play of the little story time, telling the little fairy tale. That's what the consciousness doesn't want to admit, the deeper I go with Jesus, just seeing, like, not wanting to admit it's not working. There is no way to get consciousness to work to get happiness. It is working trying to get happiness, and it's a hamster. A hamster. It's gonna. You ever have one of those things? I love those little things. Oh my gosh, love hamsters. Anything little furry, But it's gonna hop on. It's in its cage. And at night, snap, it gets on that little wheel. And that little guy is going to keep running as though there's someplace to go. And that's the perfect symbol right there, what's happening. And it's a circle. It's like, help me off. And something may get stuck in that wheel and suddenly goes tumbling off. And you know what? He gets back on again. Have you ever? He'll look around. Why isn't this wheel running? And he'll jump back on it. But if it happens 4 or 5 more times, he's kind of going to look at it and go, maybe I'm really not going anywhere with this one. And that's truly what Jesus is offering for us to see. That we're not going anywhere. It's a loop, endless looping. It's Mr. Robot and the last episode where he goes out of the room and he tries to escape. This Holy Spirit character trying to tell him this is a dream here. He goes around and he comes back through the other door on the other side and he's back in the room. So the question's going to be, how many times are we going to take that loop? It's like, Jesus, I'm committed to only forgiving this once, all the way. So we don't have to live those loop-to-loops to try to get the message that it doesn't work holding on to grievances. And so we can get really fast with Jesus. So going, all right, I surrender this to you. I do want it more than God. I admit that all the way. And then we can laugh with them. It's impossible. So he's reminding to join quickly. Not joining is the death march. You might as well send yourself off the plank. That's what he's saying. You might as well just walk the plank if you're not going to join. See, that's the decision in mind, to keep the grievance and not join. That's all it is. Either join with him or a brother. Let's see what's true. Let's see what's true. Because you're going to bolt. You can just guarantee it's 100%, but you're going to be the hamster. You think you're running somewhere, but it's a hamster on a wheel of samsara. It's to keep the grievance. It's just a pattern. It's just the consciousness pattern of keeping the grievance. So it's refusal to join because the happiness is here right now. So consciousness will make it, because the shark goes out, as we know. We're familiar with this one, but we're getting even more familiar with it so we don't fall for the delusion anymore. And it's going to seem to find a reason, but oh, you start seeing these little plays, but this is good because now we see them. And it seems like all of a sudden something that ticks us off is there. Like, where'd that come from? All of a sudden you're like mad. That's it. That's the last straw. Huh? But you see, it's something that's been running under under awareness through the play in consciousness and the desire for experience. We're consciousness hunting for that proof. I'm going to prove that I'm dead. That's what it is. Go into the trance. It's a trance. So it seems to be about that thing that is right here, right now, that seems to trigger. And then like there's a ballistic missile underneath. Like, I wasn't doing anything. But under the awareness, under consciousness, under the awareness, outside of awareness, through our desire for experience, we're carrying that fin on our back. Everywhere we go, we got the shark fin hunting. Everyone's seeing it, Oh, I got that. Oh, I like that shark. Oh, I like that attack thoughts. Oh, I love them. I want to keep them. I'm not going to join. I'm not going to join. I'm not going to join. And then it's the universal solvent. He's giving us the universal solvent to a personal identity. Joining. As Judy says in that beautiful video it talked about where she got burned. There are lots of ways you can. How many eons? So that's what Jesus says. How many eons do you want to take? So he doesn't exclude anything from possibility for helpfulness, because the light's here right now. It's like, okay, here's the light, and no use denying that the light's all there is. It can be that simple. For some play in consciousness who are really relishing the story of waking up in a timeline, like playing shark. Jesus, do I like playing that, a shark looking for something to attack and then have another shark follow me? So another shark behind me. So I feel like I'm going to be attacked by that shark. So I'm going to try to get the shark in front of me. Is that? Huh? Is that what I'm relishing? We have to really see how much we like the play. We watched a beautiful movie today, The Railway Man. It's a terrific movie, especially for today's lesson, because God cannot make a meaningless world. And you could use it a lot in that movie. It's a mind watcher to watch desire for attack, the desire for a dream, to avoid present joining, present love. See, these little reflex habits of denying love. We're so used to them, we don't even see them. Ask Jesus, Jesus, am I just so accustomed to this reactivity the ping off of looking. Ping. I'd rather be mad than look. Ping. I'd rather be mad than join. Ping. That's the relishing of tossing light out of awareness. Ping. Ping. So in this beautiful reinterpreted story, beautiful story of a seeming man who's on a train. He loves trains. He just loves trains. And this is a fantastic one to look at how the Spirit's going to use trains in so many different ways, where the ego would use the train in this case to deny love. The train's going to help him rediscover love that he is at a deeper level than ever. So he meets this woman on a train. And he loves trains. He knows all the schedules by heart, which came in handy because she was coming through town on a train, and he knew what time she'd be coming in because he met her on a train. She gets off of it, heads to her little holiday. But he certainly knew enough about trains. So the Spirit used that to bring them back together in a very holy, mighty companionship here. Because she is a beautiful symbol of being in service to love and seek to understand. So their relationship is really beautiful. They enjoyed, but very shortly after they're married, she comes in and finds him on the floor. He's on the floor, writhing over something that he's seeing, right? There's no one there. They're safe. They're together. What is that? And he won't talk about it at all. He's very defensive. He starts having bizarre behavior. And it's just so beautiful. I'm never upset for the reason I think. And she was just willing to be fully present, to have, it was such a fantastic demonstration of charity, to see more in your brother than he sees in himself. That is a helpful step in this journey because we believe there's another. So Jesus starts us out with charity, to see more than our brother than we see in ourselves, until we see that what we're seeing in our brother is ourselves. So it's training us to see more in ourselves than we currently see in ourselves. It's really beautiful. You don't hear charity talked about, but I saw how powerful that was. That was incredible. It's so helpful. Like when I was coaching in prison, that was charity, to see more in your brother. Until I saw they were saving me. I wasn't going in and saving anybody. They were saving me, every one of them, teaching me love and forgiveness at the deepest levels. So here she is wondering, what is this? And asking questions and seeking to follow the Spirit. She was in with Spirit the whole time. You can see it. Little, don't know what's happening, but with this openness and willingness. And she discovered, I won't give too much of the story away, other than to say she found out he had some things in his background, supposedly that had happened at a time that we would consider horrific. They would be excellent things to use today's lessons on. About, I see a violent world. God cannot make. It's impossible for God to make a violent world. And you see the full transition from the desire to attack all the way through to forgiveness in that movie. And joining. What is the name of the movie? The Railway Man. Railway Man. It's extraordinary. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Again, a great one. If you feel guided, ask Jesus about it. Feels like it's a yes for looking at the idea of attack. and holding on to grievances for many years and replaying old movies in the head to relive the attack when it's not happening now. But it's a great one for the seeming deepest attack in form going all the way through to forgiveness and peace of mind and joining, very deep joining. Dropping the story. He had to let go of the story. And then you see that everyone heals with us when we drop the story. What is most helpful is following guidance in this regard. I'll go back a little bit so that it flows through because we're in the chapter on a story. The world was created in rage. Ask him, Jesus, was the world created in rage? And this can be hidden in emotions, the world of pleasure and pain. Yet you have only to admit this is true and ask for correction. He's just pointing to how it's innocence just accepts the correction. There is no requirement that you experience rage as a state for awakening. So this is a misunderstanding of his teachings that I have to, I'm going through all the, no, you're not going through all the emotions. You can ask them. That's a play. You just have to see with him what's untrue. It doesn't mean you have to experience them all. Remember, he says, look, they might appear, but make sure they're released, because the ego has the equal power to use emotions to keep a sense of personal identity. And a perfect example of that we can probably all relate to is, if you've ever been really mad, angry at someone, and you just used anger, and you could just see how you wanted to build it up in the play of consciousness, like you just wanted to throw a Molotov cocktail in there and just get madder and madder and angrier and angry and angrier. And then there'd be an idea, I'll feel relief if I beat whatever it is in the play. That's not release. That is not release. Remember, the key to any experience is to, Jesus, I'm willing to see it another way. That's the only way it works. You can scream, holler, cry, go on for years crying, but if you're not willing to see another way, it will persist in consciousness as a desired experience. Why am I crying for months? Because there's a desired experience to cry for months, but there's no judgment in it. It's still innocent. He's just saying you don't have to experience rage and beat a pillow and these kinds of things. I'm just asking him, is that assignment to go somewhere and beat a pillow and just, he says, ask me what's necessary. See, because the ego can play in these things and make up all kinds of stories about what's necessary for awakening. The light's here right now. Now, the energetic investment that powers the shark that's below awareness does need to be released. The desire for the experience of fragmentation. But he's showing us how to go under there and admit the shark power station, and then just release it. And so I'll read it again. There's no requirement that you experience rage as a stage for awakening. Might arise. He says, yeah, it might arise. The first thing he said to me on that was, see that this need not be. He keeps reminding me, obviously, about the speed of the correction. You only have to be willing to release to the Holy Spirit the energetic investment in rage's experience, the desire, the relishing of it. The desire for rage to deny divine nature. And then it's hidden in all kinds of ways in the display of consciousness. I'm asking him. So the fastest way again goes to looking directly with him at desires. Let him show the desire under it and how much we want to keep that. Keep rage alive. It's the food of the ego. We're sticking, it's a Molotov. We're just putting in sticks, dynamite, and they're just feeding it. This is what is meant by let us join quickly in an instant of light. You can ask him, Jesus, in truth, is a correction instantaneous? See, the times when it's not like a flash, like a pop through, there's no pop through in it, where it just goes immediately, like my niece, and I said, well, why don't you put the upset that you're feeling in the light and see what's there? And she said it melts trouble. There's just willingness, full willingness to just put it right on up on the table and take a look in the light, do the light test on it. So he's just showing us through desires where we're not willing to go for the pop through. And like, no, we want to really hold on and avoid that having it cleared immediately in the light. And so that's why he's saying you're not ready for a miracle, because he knows we don't really want to keep going, to release these energetic investment below levels of awareness. Focus on the light within. Join immediately with me or your brother as my representative of the light that you are to quickly see what is true. And this is really the only thing that's being avoided. Joining quickly in a moment of light. That's the withholding, the not joining. So it's training us to go to our brother to look, just like we would go to him to look, because until such a time, but you'll still join with your brother. He may give you that assignment. But it gets faster and faster to join with Jesus too. Immediately. See, because then we don't actually, if it's an assignment, you join with your brother, but you may just be able to, why not go the fast route? And if you're upset right in this second, just accept the correction, because we like not accepting it. And that's why it's helpful to go with a brother sometimes. Ask me what is most helpful and listen carefully for the answer. You will see quickly that rage and light do not coexist. That's what the ego does not want to see. That's what it's guarded. That's why I won't join. That's why it goes the other direction. That's why that little play keeps coming up. When nothing's actually happening, it's just a play of the past and wanting to hold on to the past with every bit of energy and not release that energy of the no. I love this sentence. I have no requirement for rage to be experienced, but the idea you have of yourself might. And you will see how deep the desire is to project outside of yourself to blame your brother as God's representative in your mind. I have no judgment on rage or any expressed emotion, as I know it does not exist. So asking me directly how to handle every arising experience is the fastest and most helpful means to know your true nature, if that is where your heart is. So I'm just reading from chapter 12 of A New Covenant, Desire for a Story. Trust that because you have called me to you, that whatever is arising is in your best interest. Even that, sometimes, Jesus, will you help me see that everything that remind me? We can ask him. He said he'll remind us that it's all in our best interest because we've asked for his help. You can ask him, have you taken over time and space for me? That's reassuring to hear him say, yes, I have. Now, he might tell you that you have not given it over to him fully yet. He says, yes. You really need to look with him whether or not how willing you are to give over time and space to him, he says. He says that's helpful. This is such a beautiful sentence. Trust that because you have called me to you, that whatever is arising is in your best interest, as you are in the highest function possible for this world. The recognition of your perfection as God made you. Where do we talk in this world about the highest function possible? The recognition of your perfection as God made you, as the highest function of this world. Thank you for the reminder, Jesus. It is simply impossible for me to be apart from you. That's beautiful. God has called you home to celebrate, and the voice within that knows you are His answers the call. Perception unifies as energetic investment and desires willingly seen through, and without desire, emotions do not arise. You can ask him, hear him. Jesus, without desire, can emotions arise? That's the very interesting thing, because it can seem like an emotional display and it won't be. It's very interesting. It'll be divine expression. And that's the experience. You start to see like excitement falls away. Like you see that excitement is a little adrenaline part of the pleasure pains and thing. You know, it's steady state happiness, steady state joy. And then if anything arises, we know it becomes such a high contrast between that steady state of joy and then the little twitches. This is beautiful too. You think of happiness as an emotion you experience. So used to happiness and sadness and these emotions that I'm going to, you know, the happiness is an experience. Happiness is identity. It's what's here. It's the truth of what's here when the desire for experience of other washes away that energetic investment. Happiness in the sense of union with the Father is what is. He's really reminding me about the hold tight. See, well, to really hold tight and not to move and not to run, to really hold tight into these expressions of emotion and anger or whatever's arising and stay with him. Because again, the ego wants to change the circumstance. Oh, I'll just go to another. No, it's the thundercloud's going to go with you. And David would say this too, right before the biggest breakthrough, the ego, it's going to try to shift circumstance. That's why you really have to ask him. Really be with him and ask him and really trust him that he has your best interest. Because it's a pop, it can go right to a pop through to draw a falling away of the untrue. Yeah, and that's what David would say, and you jettison your mighties. But we don't see it because it's part of the play. We're so invested in the play that we don't see it until after. And then we've suffered a lot by not really trusting him when he's telling us. Happiness in the sense of union with the Father is what is. This is unknown. It's just not known to limited consciousness. And consciousness and fragmentation cannot fathom that. Its function is to not find that fathomable, because happiness has a because. In the play of consciousness, happiness, it has a because behind it. I'm happy because I'm doing this. I'm happy because I'm not doing that. Your happiness, identity is happiness. So when he's giving assignments, he's reminding me, he's giving assignments to see so we can see, like he said, everything's being handled. When we say yes to the assignments, they're to see how attached we are for doing something for happiness and uncouple that. To see that happiness is not what the body's doing. He's trying to help us uncouple. It's like a pop through. I mean, it was spectacular in that movie last night. Was it Where Have You Gone, Bernadette? She's sitting out, floating in the place she did not want to go. This is so the experience here. Didn't want to go there. And then all of a sudden it was, wait, who am I? I don't know who I am. That's perfect. Stay there. You don't have to know who you are. You are what you are. It was thinking that we know, consciousness thinking that it knows what it is. It tries to define it. It's so important to stay the course. He's just reminded, stay with the assignment. Stay with it. That he gives, just stay with it because you're going to run. The consciousness likes to run. That's the play. Happiness and the sense of union with the Father is what is. See, that's you. Because again, we'll see that the holy instance here, that's really nice. Something here infinite. Until that energy, he's saying, yes, is released of doing everything to not experience that, to not experience happiness, to make happiness conditional and love conditional until the relishing of that is cleared. There's no happiness on a consistent basis without unification of consciousness. And it goes beyond even that because you're beyond consciousness. Happiness in the sense of union with the Father is what is. It is a state of being. It is not something that is given in exchange for the idea that something is happening or something will happen again in the future. It is being you are. Happiness. We're back. Oh, holy holiness. Hello. Just got another, for some reason, it just wouldn't fly. I just said no. We changed computer. Oh, no, it's up now. I think the whole internet system went down in Mexico. Okay. We're on a good topic. God has no future plans for you to be happy as you are created as happiness. How about that for a cliffhanger? Why wait for happiness when it's already what you are? That's a good question. What are we waiting for? Let's ask you. Jesus, what am I waiting for? He says you like the play. You relish it. You love it. You want it more than God. Okay, Jesus, you're right once again. I do want it more than God. Let's admit it. That's the shift. To really see how much we want to boot that light out of awareness. The relishing of booting. Look at Renee's trying to finagle this other computer over here. I give that at all costs. There, she can go sit down. Look, it's going to work. It's going to, at all costs, boot it out. Just ask him, Jesus, am I still like wanting to boot the light out? Do I still want the dream, Jesus? Do I still want to feel like God's doing something to me? Are my brothers doing something to me? Do I still want to feel like there's somebody out there? It's so great because those questions, the answers will fall away from yes to peace of mind, which is the no. No longer the urge to have an other. No longer the urge to blame God, to find a reason, another reason to hide from the light, to boot the light out of awareness. That's all he's saying. Just look at all the excuses not to see that the holy instant is you. Jesus, am I willing to see that the holy instant is me? Am I willing to go the full Monty to see that the holy instant is me? That's the question. That there isn't anything other than holiness. The instant that's eternity. It takes an instant to notice. And eons to say no, to pretend like we're not that. So thus he's given the means. Now they're out there. There's no turning back. At some point you see it's impossible to unsee what we've seen. That our brother's the solution. That love is here. That light is here despite our best attempts to say no to it. And love just keeps loving. Regardless of what our ideas or the dream of the dream is, it's still here. We thank our brothers for keep coming because we see they are truly the key. It's so funny. I remember when I was about 20 or so, I was waiting for someone to give me the key. See, the key to the understanding of the world. You know, because I thought, well, surely once I reach 25, I'll know the secrets of the world. I remember thinking that surely, like I'm an adult, you know, isn't there some kind of like transition period that you go to, you know, that you're just going to know something? And then he tells you the key is that you don't know anything. The key is that your brother will show you that you don't know anything. The brother is the one to show you that you know nothing. That's deep. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, then bring it on, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Bringing your, yeah, wow. Well, thank you for bringing the key to home. Amen. Got our signals and our hashtag. We're straight up. Love you.